Okay, guys, so Atlanta season 3 just ended. And to me, this was a very interesting season of Atlanta because for this season, for whatever reason, they had sort of like a different side stories for or for different episodes. So like 5 episodes, we had like our normal side or normal story with our characters, and in Never 5 episodes, we had like a different plot lines dealing with the themes of Atlanta. So we're gonna discuss about this, whether or not that really improved the show or hindered the series, and I guess we should get into it.
Yeah. I thought it was very so there were a lot more, like you said, kind of side episodes that weren't directly connected to the plot around Earn and Paperboy and what they were going through throughout the season. And I thought that that was interesting on a couple of different levels because it almost felt like, the old Twilight Zone shows.
Yes,
like
that's what I
just
was. That's what I was thinking. I was thinking like it
yeah.
was a Black Mirror, but dealing with race
Yeah,
issues,
yeah.
especially, especially,
Definitely in that line.
yeah, especially the episode where you had the white dude who, for whatever reason, now they have to give black people money, and it's like
Oh yeah,
that
the
whole episode where
reparations.
it's like everyone's like, well, is it fair for what's going on with them? And
Yeah,
I like
yeah.
that episode a lot, and it was like, to be honest, I'll be real with you, I actually enjoy the Twilight, or I like to call it the Black racial, Black Mirror racial issues
Black
more.
racial mirror.
Black Mirror, yeah, Black Mirror racial issue of episodes a lot more than the plot episodes, or at least the main headline episodes. Not to say they were bad or anything, but just to say those concepts were more engaging because the stories were more like there was more of a satisfying payoff for
Yeah.
those episodes. So
I
yeah,
agree. I agree. I think that there was a lot that they could do with those episodes, and it kind of just showed their experimentation. Like they were able to experiment with a lot of different concepts and ideas. And for a show that's already been so experimental in the
yeah.
past, it's really cool to see them keep like pushing that. Um, yeah, I really had a lot of fun with this season. I personally still really enjoyed any time that they went back to Earn and Paperboy,
Hmm.
just because like that's the story that we're sticking with.
Yeah,
And in this season, they were just going throughout Europe
yeah.
on their tour, which was interesting. It's interesting that like in the show Atlanta, we were never in Atlanta in this season.
That's true. That's true. Although they kind of hinted that with the ending of season 2, where they were going to go out to
Yeah,
Europe, so we kind of knew
yeah,
that they were going to explore Europe. But what I do love about this season is how, and one thing I love about Atlanta is that Atlanta has never really been a character driven show. It's always been a show that's been driven by its themes. Like it's really just about what's the lifestyle of being like a rapper, and how does that like affect certain themes of like what does it mean to be a black person, what does it mean to be a rapper, what it means to be music. And it's always a show that the conclusions is never about like solving a problem, but just knowing that these are the problems you're going to have to deal with if you're doing the lifestyle. So what I thought was interesting with this season is how race is done differently with Europe, right? Like how in America we have a certain way of racism is done, but in Europe there's another way of racism. Like there's this sort of like sort of ignorance within racism. Like for example, there was one scene where Darius, if I'm correct, no, not Darius, is oh my god, I can't believe I'm mixing this up. Yeah, Darius is
yeah, yeah. You're thinking. I think you're thinking about Lakeith Stanfield.
yeah,
Yeah, Darius.
yeah, Darius, yeah, him. So like I remember him. There's a scene particularly where he's there's I think it was an Asian girl, right? And then there's a part where the Asian girl is saying like, only black guys hit on
Oh
me.
yeah.
And then they were all thinking like it's racist for a girl not to like a black person, but for him it's like,
Yeah.
no, it's not like that. But it's seeing how the Europe perspective kind of goes into where, not to say that every European sees that, but it's sort of
Right.
like their
But it was
perspective.
almost
Yeah,
like making fun of that hypersensitivity
yeah, exactly, the
towards
hyper.
it and not like on their own behalf, but on somebody else's behalf. 'Cause, like,
Exactly.
Darius wasn't offended in that moment.
Yeah.
but everyone else was, and they were completely willing to just destroy
Exactly.
this woman's life.
Exactly.
So
It was hilarious.
there were a lot of great moments like that. What did you feel like? So, because we're both Nigerian, what did you feel like about the Nigerian jollof rice episode?
That was a very interesting thing, and I forgot that his character was playing a Nigerian character. That was a very interesting take on it, especially because like it winds up getting, I guess
Commodified.
Yeah, commodified,
gentrified. Right word.
But the interesting thing about that is, I still, like, us being Nigerian, I feel like a Nigerian person will allow that because we care about money, so it would be like, oh, okay, I got the great gentrified. So,
Well, I feel like they would be more willing to like be a part of it, but I think the interesting thing was that it showed the sinister nature of this like white woman's ambition by the fact that she essentially stole the idea and just didn't even use any of the original people in creating it. Like it was it like a Hispanic dude or an Asian dude cooking the food?
I think it was an Asian dude.
It was an Asian dude cooking the food. So it's like, it's like you took the idea of this like cultural dish that is so important to a region of the world, and just you kicked out the people who were doing it originally, and then decided to do it yourself, but not as good. They really expanded on the culture this season, because like one of my favorite episodes, going back to the other story that doesn't have to deal with Earn or whatever, was that one kid who goes to the Jamaican, like he was raised by the Jamaican Trini to the bone.
And I loved it because like the part where he's like, hey man, it's just like the way they act, it was just it was so perfect. And it was like, my favorite moment was the part when they were getting upset and the white people were getting scared, and they were like, yo, it's nothing any bad, this is how we grieve. And I like that because it just shows the difference between culture, because sometimes we can look at people's culture, especially African American culture, and think that they're super violent, but like it's not like they actually want to beat up people. It's just they grieve in a way that's very loud and obnoxious, so it's just kind of a way of like expressing it. So I thought that was a very interesting take on that, and I'm glad they even addressed that in that way. So that was a really interesting episode. There were a ton of like really cool parts. One of the episodes that I really liked was the New Jazz episode where Paperboy's where he's like lost in the city, and the whole question of like whether or not, and it's really interesting to see the development of him and Earn's relationship, like from where it was in season 2 to where it is now. Because like in season 2 it was essentially about how strained their relationship was, like they were kind of at each other's necks the whole time, and there was a sense of like, can I trust you on Paperboy's part. And so this kind of brought it back a little bit, because throughout the season we've seen Earn like basically just be like the perfect manager for Paperboy. And then in this episode with the New Jazz, he's questioned by that one girl, I forgot her name. Yeah, me too.
He's questioned about like who owns your masters, like who is the
I love that.
can you really trust, you have family doing these things, can you really trust them? And I was low-key scared about like what was actually going on behind the scenes. But then the fact that at the end of that episode he asks Earn who owns my masters, and he's like, you do, of course. It's like, it just kind of made me feel good about like their relationship being where it is in this season.
That was interesting. I like how again, this goes back to commentary, right? Because like the whole masters things is something that, we don't really know that rappers, like they don't really own much that they, like we've kind of heard about it, but it's not as public that rappers don't own as much as they do. So to hear that there's sort of a commentary saying like, do you really own all of this? It's like, you're just kind of like an image. And another thing I love about that episode was the Liam Neeson cameo. Just randomly, we have Liam Neeson.
That was interesting. There were a lot of really random cameos in this season.
Yes,
which was super cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, the I really enjoy the show. It's like we haven't had this show around for a long time, and so it was good to have it back in 2022 finally with this one. And they filmed this season and season 4 together, I believe.
Yeah, I heard that, and I also heard season 4 is supposed to be the final season. So
oh no,
yeah,
dang it.
Who knows? Who knows what's gonna happen?
But one of the big mysteries about this season was what is going on with Van. And that was a really interesting thing throughout the show, and we finally got the answer to it kind of in this last episode, the season finale. So how did you feel about that? Like, how did you feel about her character throughout the season, and then how did you feel about like where?
So to be honest with you, at the beginning, I feel like, I mean, as far as like, I kind of felt like Earn was being a little bit too pushy, because there's like moments where I'm like, dude, she's all right, and I get why, because he really cares about her, but at the same time, it's like I felt like he was being really desperate. But then at this episode, I was like, okay, this girl just, and this is the funny thing I love about Atlanta, because it was like this whole thing was just so surreal, where she's just acting like some random French person, and it's just
French mob boss,
mafia boss, and acting all crazy, and it's just about her, and it came to the point where it's true, where it's like, what is her identity? Like she's kind of been just Earn's girlfriend or baby mama for the most part, but now it's like, what is she now when she's not Earn's baby mama? And that's actually an interesting question that they explored. So that's it's a very interesting way that they went about it, and I thought it was, I enjoy the whole mafia bob thing at some point. It was just like, what the hell is going on? But that's the thing about this show. It's random, but it has like a reason for its randomness.
Yeah. I agree. How do you feel like this season stacked up against the other seasons, if you can even compare them?
Okay, so it's tough because, like I said, for example, I love the, Black Mirror-ish episodes, especially since one of them had Kevin Samuels. Rest in peace to Kevin Samuels. But yeah, I like that. And even that episode, they had a Nigerian, and there was a debate of like, okay, is a Nigerian person really black? Like that was another interesting aspect being played. So I love those kinds of episodes with this season. So I feel like those are really heavy. I don't know. I as far as humor goes, because it's Atlanta is a drama, it's a comedy, it's a social commentary, whatever. I still feel like season 1's the most funniest to me. Like nothing's ever beat that like prison scene.
Oh, the prison scene is good. I love the band episode is like one of my favorite episodes of all of television.
Yeah,
that season.
Yeah,
of Atlanta.
Yeah, that one. I also love that line where what's it called, Earn was in the club when they say, well, niggas know I drink juice, or it's like stuff, lines like that. So humor wise, that one was definitely there. Season 2, I guess, to be honest, season 2's, comparing to this season, it's my least favorite. Not to say it was anything bad, but it wasn't as memorable for me. And this season to me has been, it's interesting. I like the way they took things with it. For sure, again, like I said, I didn't really enjoy as much the episodes with Earn and Paperboy. Not that they were bad, but it wasn't as to me compelling to the Black Mirror-ish episodes. Those ones were to me the most genius ones, and I guess since it's the concept of it is really just a unique concept, I guess that's what really made me really get into it. And part of me felt like it was kind of a spoof on Jordan Peele, because they're like, oh, well, we know that Jordan Peele's movies, there's always some racial commentary with some like crazy randomness. So I felt like it was a spoof on it.
Yeah, I mean, to a certain extent, they've always kind of done like random episodes in their seasons, but I think this season was a lot more. Than compared to the other ones. So, I really enjoyed it. I really appreciated it.
Yeah, I think I think overall, when it comes to like television, especially for like racial social commentary, because like ever since Boondocks has been out there's never been really good black racial social commentary. Atlanta does it in a way where it doesn't feel preachy, but it also feels like it's also delivering the message at the same time. So I think it does a good job with that, and I love how artistic it's being. I love how expressive it's being, and I feel like TV shows need to really we need more TV shows that are willing to break and change the envelope. So, yeah, man.
Yeah, I agree. So definitely looking forward to the next season, season 4. Hopefully, I mean, if it's the last season, hopefully it's a great send off.
Yeah, we'll go out a bang.
Yeah.
Imagine it's all just racial Black Mirror episodes. No, no.
No, we still need a conclusion. I still want to see a conclusion with all of them. Ern, Paperboy, Darius, Van, all of them. But yeah, definitely let us know in the comments how, if you watched the show, how you enjoyed this season, what you're anticipating for the next season coming up, and we'll see you there.
Peace.